Welcome to the next episode of the Gentleman in Style Show. I'm Baldwin.
And I'm Creech. And today we got a great show for you. It's a funny show. We got some beautiful ladies of comedy.
Hey, check it out, man. You know, I always enjoy having my funny bone tickled and everything. We was just having a riveting conversation earlier about, you know, some old school, about stepping on grapes and everything. But that's something from the country.
Yeah,
we're not even going to get into all of that. You know, y'all don't know nothing about that.
Yeah. But, like I said, we've got some lovely ladies of comedy. They're funny. They're very innovative, but that's not all they do. But, you know, one of the things that this show is all about is letting you discover what they do. So we're going to go ahead and bring them on out. Our first guest today is the lovely, funny, talented Miss Iris Medina.
All right, come on in.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
You're going to be right over there.
We'll put you right there. Yes, welcome to the show.
Excellent.
All right, let's get into the basic background. Where are you from?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn?
BK. I always like to say that.
Is that like a cliche thing? It's like anytime someone says they're from Brooklyn, you just gotta holler Brooklyn like a second time. You gotta represent.
Without a doubt.
Fullest, yeah.
All right, okay.
Full of facts.
So, how long? You know, I know you grew up in Brooklyn, but how long were you there before you transitioned to North Carolina?
Well, I lived in Brooklyn all the way till I was 26. I moved out here when I was 26 years old.
26 and you left?
Yeah, 26.
I was under the impression that, you know, whenever you're living in a city like that and everything, you become a part of the city, and it's like very difficult to detach.
Yeah, it still is. It still is. I've been out here like 15 years, so yeah.
So you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You acclimated now?
Yeah, I'm adjusted.
Oh, okay.
Well adjusted.
Yeah.
So before we get into the comedy again, I understand acting is your first passion.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that come about, and did it start at a young age?
Yeah, it did. Actually, when we was young, growing up when we was young, like everybody on the block, we ain't have nothing to do and stuff like that. So we would all be like, all right, let's put a little talent show together. And we would have a hall, like in the building, you know, the hallways, we play in the hallways in Brooklyn in the building. So we would have a talent show and everybody would be acting or doing whatever, a song or whatever they wanted. So, and I don't know, I just loved it. I used to love it. I used to be in the plays in schools. I used to be involved in anything that had to do with acting and chorus or whatever. I was involved in it.
You went to a school of the arts?
No, I just used to be involved in
whatever
school.
Everyone was able to click in on that?
Yeah.
Your group?
Like, yeah, I'm talking about my whole block.
Really?
Yeah, all the kids on my block.
That's rare to have like a common interest. Like
yeah,
that.
but
Say,
it's
hey.
crazy because all the kids on my block, we all remember that. Like even now when I go back out there and do comedy and we all sit down, they say it. They be like, we always knew. They was like, yo, that came in handy, right? us doing them little talent shows came in handy. I was like, yeah, no, it really do. And then when you sitting around on the block, you don't have nothing to do growing up. What you doing? You getting on each other. You looking for funny things to make fun of and stuff like that. So growing up, me and my brother, everybody wanted to be in our house. They was like, yo, y'all is funny. Y'all keep things going for real.
So your brother, is he humorous as well?
Yeah, he's funny, but he does a lot of music. He's more on the music side. Yeah, he's okay.
You heard what your sister said. Your sister said you're okay.
I mean, he's doing his thing though, but he's okay. He's good.
Okay, I'll take that for it. Riding off your word, you know.
So how did your mom, deal with you guys in terms of funny kids, all this talent? Did she push you guys, or was she more like, eh?
Nah. She used to actually sit down and listen to us. And listen to our stories, or she'll be like, make me laugh, like, you know what I'm saying? Something we'll just come and just tell our stories to her and stuff like that. And she don't care. She'll be sitting down laughing, even if it was like some messed up stuff and everything. She'd be like, yo, you kids are bad. Like, she'd be like, you guys are rotten. But then she'll laugh, you know what I'm saying? But she'd be like, you guys are rotten, for real.
Let me ask you this. Funny, can you tell us a little short story about the funniest thing that ever happened in your youth while you were growing up that y'all found it was just like so hilarious?
That was so hilarious.
Yes.
And that we would like be like, yo, that's foul, but that was hilarious.
Some of y'all, like you said, when you go back, your friends say, hey, we were doing it.
Do you remember?
What happened?
it wasn't to us. It's hilarious,
Right.
like, but to y'all it'd be like, dag, you know what I'm saying?
Let's hear it.
Like some
What?
hilarious stuff to us was like Eddie hanging on the fire escape and somebody coming pulling him off. That was hilarious. That was funny. It's funny to, because we wouldn't just see him pulling down. We'd be like, yo, you saw his face. Yo, you saw what's his name's face, the way he pulled him down. You know, it would be
It was like
everything.
you had to be there.
Yeah, you had to be there and stuff like that. But a lot of funny stuff would be like let's say the bum for instance, the white bum on the junction, and we used to make fun of him, and he'll turn around and be like, I order, you bastard, I order. So you know what I'm saying? Every time like we all get together, that's what we do. We be like, you bastard.
Right.
So we know where that comes from. We be like, oh, that's that white dude. Yeah. Or how about like the lady that she used to do voodoo in the building and everything. Every time she used to come like past the hallway, because we used to be playing in the hallway, my brother and them used to be like, hide your face, and we'd be hiding her face. Well, why are we hiding our face for? For what?
Can't make eye contact. Can't make eye contact.
Exactly, man, and you know, stuff like that would be funny to us, right? Like,
Stuff like that is funny to me.
Yeah.
I have a strange sense of humor.
Funny. I didn't even have to be there.
Yeah, I have a strange sense of humor, so that's funny.
Or when my mother got beat up by the retarded kid, that was funny.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, that was a real thing. That thing
Do
was
I
funny.
really want to ask any more
He
about
was
this?
5 too. He was 5, and my mother.
He was 5.
Retarded kid.
I don't know if I want to know.
That's funny. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right.
You know, yeah, that's funny to us.
So
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I'm picturing them. Go ahead. No, I was laughing.
But check it out. Okay, so let me ask you this. What type of doors has that opened for you? I mean, you've been going through for a little while. You've been traveling in that arena. So what type of doors?
I mean, it's not opened a lot of doors because, you know what I'm saying, I've just started. I've just, the acting I've done since what,
Maybe
2015?
rephrase that. Like, it's like almost like in like social type of environments and everything. Even before you got started, you know, you have a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
How has that helped you through life?
It's helped a lot. It helped me pass all my classes. It helped me get through school. Yes. Helped me get through school. Helped me get...
Humor can help you pass your classes.
Yes, pass your classes.
Okay.
It could keep you from getting beat up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that before. That's what Tiffany Haddish always talked about. How it helped her from not... Is that what she was saying?
It did. From not... You know, we were the only Puerto Ricans on the block. We grew up with Jamaicans, Haitians, and everything. So, you know what I'm saying? To us, it's like we had to find something to not get beat up. You know what I'm saying? So that was us. Don't mess with them. They funny. You know
That's interesting that you just said that and everything. You said you were the only Puerto Ricans on the block and everything like that. I mean, you know, being black and everything like that, you know, you get marginalized to a degree and everything. Were you marginalized on the block?
Yeah, we was. When we was in elementary school, when we got to middle school, no, really when I got to 5th grade. But from there, we was. But you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, you white? I'm like, why used to go home? I used to be like, Mom, I'm white. She'd be like, who told you that? You ain't white. Tell them you know. You know what I'm saying? And
so you never really got
when you little.
So you got stereotyped as white and not
and not Hispanic. But then because you little, you don't know. You think white is white, black is black. You know what I'm saying? You don't know and everything. So and we confused because we like, what are we? What's going on with us? You know what I'm saying? And then when you get older, you know, people be like, oh, y'all Puerto Rican.
When did you figure it out? When did you actually knew, hey, this is what the deal is?
Oh, 5th grade. I was like, yo, y'all ain't playing with me this year for real. This is my last year in elementary school. I ain't going out like no herb.
So what was it? Was it like a TV show and you saw it and you was like, oh, that's me. That's who I am? Or was it like just interactions, you know, in the street? I mean, or was it at home and your mom or someone got you straight?
No, it was at home. I grew up with my grandmother's house. My grandmother, they only spoke Spanish in my grandmother's house. You know, everything was Puerto Rican in my grandmother's house. You know, that's all it was. But that's how I knew. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh wait, and then you start to know. All right, you know, this person's Haitian. This person's Jamaican.
So now you start to see the different cultures.
Yeah, and the cultures. Okay. And then as you get to 6th grade, 7th grade, you go into these people's houses and you're like, wow,
this is different.
This is different, but the same. You know what I'm saying? Because you Caribbean.
Let me get some beans and rice because I'm in my
exactly. I said, I eat beans and rice too, but yours tastes good. You know? And then they come to my house. and they be like, yo, your food is banging. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But all them kids I grew up with, or we still friends till today. I'm 42 years old.
Okay.
And we all still
42?
friends. Yeah, I'm 42.
I look like.
Yeah, I know.
Nah, I look like you.
So growing up in that environment with all these different cultures, were you able to really take a lot of that and bring that into your life? Because, you know, you grow up with Haitians and Jamaicans. There's just certain things that you pick from them, and it's like, you know, whether it's the food, the culture, or sometimes it's the attitude, the dress.
Yep, all of that. I bring it into my comedy and everything. I mean, I cook it, right? I cook Jamaican food. I mean, I don't cook Haitian food. I really didn't know how to cook Haitian food. But Jamaican food, that's one of my favorite foods.
Killing it.
Yo, I love Jamaican food.
So you good? You good with that jerk chicken?
Yeah, jerk chicken,
Oxtail.
some oxtail, some curry goat.
Curry goat.
Yeah, all that.
And all my favorites.
Yeah, I think it's good.
So let's get into the acting in terms of what have what was the first process? I know you know, acting is one of those things people either go to school for it or they get their big break somehow. How did it happen for you? What was that first big break for you?
Well, what happened with me was I was going to church to Wake Chapel, and they was doing a movie. They was filming a movie, and the pastor asked me if I wanted to be involved in the movie they was filming because they needed a Hispanic woman for the movie. But I didn't know that the role was like, my role was like the lead role or anything.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so that's how I got picked. But I still had to audition. Okay. And when I auditioned, they was like, nah, you act before. I was like, nah, I never act. I mean, I've been in the street. Like, my brother would tell me, Iris, you gonna do this, okay? And you gonna do that, okay? Right. I want to show you how this was set up. As far as that, other than that, I've never been acting, and I got cast for the lead role.
How was that experience? Like, so it was your first big role. So were you nervous, or were you like, I've done this before, kind of?
Nah, it was. I wasn't even nervous. I get more nervous doing the comedy, standing up doing the comedy, than I do the acting. Because if you give me something to do, like I said, we've been doing this since we was little. Right. You know, we all be on the block and we'd be like, all right, we're gonna let's act this out. You know what I'm saying? We'll act this out, or I'll act something out for my mother and them. So to me, if you throw me in there and be like, just do that, you know what I'm saying? I'll be like, all right, let me see how I could do it. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll just make it my own.
Who's your favorite actor?
My favorite actor would be, number one would be Denzel, Top Down, and Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Those would be my two favorite actors.
Choice.
My favorite actress would be Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a thing for Sandra Bullock. Too.
Yeah, I don't know why, but her and what's her name? The girl that plays Stella Grant, her groove back. What's her name? Angela Bassett. Yep. Them two, yeah, they my favorite actresses.
Okay, what about your favorite comedian?
So of course, Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy.
Richard Pryor.
Eddie Murphy.
She said that right off the gate.
Off the gate.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy used to, because that's when they had the records. Remember?
Right.
And my uncle used to, me and my cousin, we used to sneak and we used to be like, yo, listen to it. And then it came out on the cassette tape. Remember, it came out on the cassette tapes, and we used to watch it on the cassette tapes.
Yeah, I think everybody used to sneak and watch that. I mean, because that was the thing.
Records,
you know, like, man, it almost felt
Eddie
wrong.
Murphy. My favorite host MCs for comedy would be Martin Lawrence and Joe Torre.
Really?
Them two would be my favorite. Yup, and I got to do a show with Joe Torre too.
Really?
Not too long. Yeah, I was happy. I was gassed.
Cool.
I was like, yo, and I was like, that was my favorite host, like MC as a comedian.
Did they like share some words of advice? Did you get to like interact with them?
I mean, I spoke with him. Yeah, we spoke and everything, but you know, it wasn't like, oh, we sat down and
moving
everything.
and stuff. And
it was a lot of moving and stuff, but we spoke and everything. He's cool, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I met Joe once. He did a show. I want to say it was in Greensboro. He was either Greensboro or Charlotte, and we just happened to be standing next to each other. And you know, he's one of those dudes that he'll look over at you like, hey, and just start talking to you like blah 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 blah. And then, matter of fact, it was because he's a Omega, so it was a Omega function. Yeah. And so he was one of the guys I was with. He was Omega, so it was kind of that kind of camaraderie. But he's definitely a real cool dude. I think he's been in the game, 20 plus
Yes,
years.
yeah, a
so-
long time since the 90s.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
really good
That's
guy.
my
Shout out to
favorite.
Joe Tour.
So,
Yeah.
so let's talk about for a minute about the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
How are you navigating the business side of it? Are you dealing with any of it as far as any of your gigs that you go through, or do you have someone handling it?
No, I mean, I deal with them, but most of the times, I get it done through people. Like
Okay.
me and Janeen, oh, Iris, I got some place that, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Somebody needs another person or whatever, and
Right,
then
right.
I'll get booked on, but like ain't nobody really handling my stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on whatever. Right now,
But
until you get there,
Yeah, but
yeah.
you're getting there, because one thing that I've noticed, I think over the last several months, anything that's happening in the North Carolina radius, I know you do some things up north too, but in the North Carolina radius, if there is something comedy, I'm seeing the name Iris Medina. I don't care what it is, hosting on the show, someone added to the show.
Yeah.
The show's already booked. The next thing you know, something else come out.
added.
They added Iris
Yeah.
Medina. Added. So somebody is seeing it.
Because they were sleeping.
Yeah,
you know
they're
what I'm
seeing
saying?
it.
Yeah, it was
And
like
it's moving.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's sometimes you be like, dang, what's going on? But then you understand. You be like, oh well. Then they be like, well. It's not moving at your pace and everything. Then finally you be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? It's, things gotta happen in a timely fashion. So
Right.
I'm like, whatever.
When it's your
It's
time,
gonna
it's your time,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. Whether it's here in New York, it's gonna happen.
So what was the name of the movie?
Oh, There's My Angel.
There's My
Yes, There's My Angel. I played Carla Ramos. I played a drug addict. I was a drug addict mother, and I neglect my child and everything and stuff. But then I come back and everything, and they're trying to make another part where they show me coming back from rehab and stuff like that, and getting my son and trying to get my life in order. But they're gonna make it as me following me doing the comedy too.
Oh
Oh,
wow,
that's,
Yeah.
I
that'd
like
be kind
that.
of dope. Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
That'd be kind of dope.
I like that. Like that a lot.
Kind of dope. So, first time on stage, comedy wise, what was that like for you, and how did you get to the comedy stage? Put it that way.
All right, so I did a play.
Okay.
And the play, I was the Asian lady. I play an Asian lady. Yeah, so play Kofi. Shout out to Kofi.
You play.
I come back
Okay.
tomorrow.
I'm like, so how do you go in for it? Is that something that they were like, okay, we just need you to play this role, or did you literally go
I
in?
had to go in and audition. The lady that cast me for the movie, she said, I'm looking for this one of the Asian. She said it's an Asian lady. Her name is Kofi. She said, but it's a very small part.
Right.
She said it's just like a couple of lines. That's it. So she was like, I need you to audition for it. So I said, all right. So I went. But when I got there, I was like, all right, so do you need me to do the accent? She was like, you could do the accent? I said, yeah. She said, go ahead. And I did it. And she was
do,
like,
do it now. Let me hear it.
I come back tomorrow, G.I. You look very sad, G.I. You need to get happy.
That's good.
Pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah, so
good.
that's basically how. And
Is
then I
it
thought
racist
about.
to like sound like that? Is that racist toward? Do they like get offended when we? do
Nah,
stuff
they
like
love
that?
it. They love it.
Do they?
Look, I hope they
love
do.
it.
I
They
don't
do.
know.
They love it. That's why they come to America. That's what they come.
Oh man.
but look, when I got cast for it and I was doing it, I was like, man. And they was like, you know what? They had to add more parts because it was so funny. I made it. It wasn't supposed to be a funny part.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
supposed to be like a serious
Right.
part. Like this lady, she's in Vietnam and she's one of the mistresses, masseuse ladies and everything. She's really trying to get her American man and stuff like
Right.
that. But nah, I turned it into a funny comedy and they just started adding more parts in it for me. And I
Wow.
was like, I should do comedy. And I had mad stories. And I'm like, yo, I got mad stories for comedy. And
That's cool though, because it's
Yeah.
just like when Eddie Murphy was in Beverly Hills Cop and everything. That role was originally cast for Sylvester Stallone. It was supposed to be a more
Okay,
serious role,
yeah.
but because who Eddie is, and he brought his own thing to it and everything. It became a comedy action. type deal.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's all good.
so she was like, I don't think I could ever find a Kofi like that. I was like, well, I'm just saying.
Well, that's a testament to your talent to be
Yeah.
able to go in, make it your own, and they want more. Like, yeah, we got to put something else in here for that. We got to add something else.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to your talent.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
So what was the first on stage performance like? You step on first time doing stand up comedy. Where were you at mentally? Like,
I was scared. I was like, you know what, I'm a flop. I was like, after this, I'm just gonna give it up. I'm not gonna. I took a comedy class at Good Nights, the Stand Up
right.
101 with Matt White, and then we had the graduation, and that was my first actual stand up. And I felt good. I was like, wow, people were laughing. I was like, I'm gonna do this again. I was like, yeah, and I just started doing it.
And it's been,
And I was like, yo, I enjoy it. I got enough stories. I think I could do it. And it was hard because you got to write your stuff.
Right.
And I ain't know that. I thought you could just go on stage and be like, look, let me tell you what happened to me the other day when I'm in 1989. Nah, you got to be like, you know,
Focused and
yeah, it got to
precise.
be a flow.
How would they know if you didn't write it or not?
Because you don't got no punchlines, you don't got no comeback. You be
But
like,
it's funny though. If it's funny
Yeah, it's
and you
funny.
succeed, I mean.
yeah, but
it
see, what happens is that once you start knowing how to do the flow,
Yeah.
then any story becomes funny because you know how to
Right.
bring something back at the
Right,
end, a
right,
punchline.
right.
You start to get used to that
Right.
and stuff. But at first, no, I was like, all right, it ends here, and everybody's waiting like, that's the end. I'm like, all right. But one day I remember I was stood on stage and I just stood like this and I said, okay, that's it. I just walked off. I was like, damn. It's like I don't even want to remember that.
well, they say, you know, you haven't made it in comedy until you had that one moment where you just
Yeah.
straight up flopped and it was horrible.
Yeah, you have to flop sometimes.
Then you know if you flop real bad and then you can come back, then
Yeah.
comedy.
Be like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, I flopped a couple
I'm
of
good.
times. Yeah, I've done it, but I was like, man, I'm gonna go back. I was like, that wasn't right. So,
Right.
yeah.
So how's the support with your family? Like in terms of do you get the support from your family? Like do you have those people that say, hey, you know, you can do this. You are funny.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. They be like, yo, we knew it. We knew it. Reach for the stars. Right.
I mean, because it's important to have
Yeah.
people around you that support the thought process, the dream, and you know, and to kind of hook you up sometimes. Hey,
Yeah.
I heard about this. You need to go check this
Yeah,
out. And
yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
What about your new friends now that they see you doing things?
I mean, I don't keep a lot of people around out here except for my friends in New York or anything. But the ones that I do keep around, I mean, they
okay.
they on point.
So no new friends?
No new friends.
Not new, but new, you know.
You know how it is. You're doing things. You're moving in a certain direction. People try
Yeah.
to attach themselves to you. because
Yeah,
they
I mean,
see
I got people
that
that you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, me and Janeen, that's the newest friend. We've been friends for a year.
Is she fake?
Nah,
She
never.
ain't fake?
Nah.
Really? Oh, okay.
You know what?
you always trying to start something. Oh,
Nah,
trying
we
to-
That's a question.
yeah.
That's a question.
yeah. So what's coming up for you next? What's the next new thing?
Well,
for you?
what I'm doing, what I do is like I said, I just wait to get booked on shows, reach out, whatever. But for now, I think I want to focus more on the acting. I already got my resume. I'm about to go to these auditions. I'm about to look up these auditions too. I know I'm going to Charlotte. I'm gonna go to Charlotte and audition.
What type of star are you? You action? You drama? You
I like
sci-fi?
drama
Where you-
and comedy.
drama and comedy.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think both of them.
You're a drama comedy.
yeah,
type. Okay.
yeah. Them two I could. I don't action.
Action
No,
drama.
I'm not. No,
comedy drama.
comedy drama.
Comedy drama.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, have you thought about writing anything for yourself?
I be writing. I got
Is there
this thing
genre
that I
of comedy
wrote.
drama? I'm trying to think now. Have I seen like a drama comedy before?
Yeah.
It is drama comedy.
I'm pretty sure there is.
Kevin Hart
but I'm
just
trying
did
to
one.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, it's more.
No, he
anyway,
just
I'll
did-
think about
yeah.
that later.
Yeah, we could do drama comedy.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
invent it. You can.
You know, it's always
Well,
some
or
levity.
whichever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If I could
Yeah.
do comedy or I could do
No,
drama.
you're right.
whichever.
You're right. You can invent it. We put it out there.
Yeah.
There's always some levity to drama. You know, you need that
Exactly.
little bit of comedy.
I'm
in
just
there.
thinking about what I've seen. But go ahead.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
I know, right? No, I was saying, have you thought about writing anything, you know, specifically for yourself, writing your movie, like something that you want to see, take it to the
Yeah,
next
actually,
grade?
you know what I started writing? I started writing this thing. You know how they have the Color Girls? I started writing a thing about the same thing, like the same idea, but with 6 Latin women. And I already got the flow and everything. I don't know. I don't know. I
like
just
that.
said
I look forward to
I like
seeing
that.
that on the
it.
screen.
Oh, it's gonna come for
I like that.
real.
I look forward to seeing that on the screen.
Even if I gotta go back to the building and put the show on there.
Yeah, I know, right?
We gotta rent out the
You talking about
building.
screen or you talking about stage play?
I'm both, whichever one comes out first.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever need any, you know, any African American man that like to wear suits, anything like that. You know, just remember,
Cameo.
yeah, just
Whatever.
need somebody just to walk through and
That's it, right?
and order something at the counter. Let me get
A latte.
yeah, let me get 2
Something.
lattes.
Exposed in any type of way.
Yeah. Man, this has been a great conversation. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring out Miss Janeen Slaughter, let her come to the GOS set and hang out with us for a little bit, and then we'll bring them back. All right.
In the back of the club, we're showing out what I've always preached on this track.
Welcome back to the Janeen Style Show. As promised, we got our lovely guest, Miss Janeen Slaughter. Welcome to the Janeen Style Show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, most definitely. So let's get into your background a little bit. Where are you from?
I am from Detroit,
Oh, Detroit.
Motor City.
Motor City.
Yes.
So what is it like? What's the transition? What was the transition like going from Detroit to North Carolina?
It was huge because coming from Detroit, it's a big city, everything's popping, and then you come here, everything's so much slower. Gas stations close at 10 o'clock. It was really huge. I think it was probably more of an adjustment for my children because at that time my 2 older sons were teenagers, so they come from like this big city life to this slow country living. Me, you know, as an adult, you kind of just go with the flow because it's work, you know, bills, life, it goes on no matter where you're at. So yeah, but it's been a good adjustment thus far. No complaints.
So growing up in Detroit, is that where the comedy started, or where did the comedy start for you?
You know what, comedy has always been a part of my life. It's something that I've always enjoyed. Even when it's something that people have always told me, oh, you're funny, you should be a comedian. Like, if that's probably the most common thing I hear all the time. You should be a comedian, you're so funny. But I was always so fearful of everything, just really shy and fearful. And so even in my early 20s, I always wanted to try comedy, but I was always too afraid. I get there and back down.
What pushed you to the point to where it's okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm ready?
You know what, after I went through my divorce, I went through a really dark time. And when I came out of that, I just had a different outlook. I was like, you know what, anything I want to do with my life, I'm gonna just do it. I don't want to look back and have a life full of regrets or shoulda, wouldas, and couldas. So I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens.
Is there anything interesting that happened in your divorce that you like talk about now whenever you maybe you integrate into your comedy?
I do, and it's my husband struggled with drug addiction, so I'm able to.
What was his favorite drug?
His favorite drug?
Yeah,
His favorite drug. What was your favorite? The list. What was your favorite?
Everybody has a favorite.
I think his favorite was crack. Okay, I'm gonna check the list. Cocaine, crack, marijuana. Yeah, crack is right up at the top.
Crack is one of the good ones.
Yeah, that's one of the that's one of the good ones. That's one of the ones that don't play, right?
It doesn't play.
It kick tail and take names later, okay?
Yeah. But you know, it's funny thing about crack and everything, from what I understand. I mean, it's not. Because like I seen some comedians and everything. I think I saw, what's that guy's name? He was talking about it the other day. He was talking about how he was using crack and everything. He was like, crack wasn't even that bad and everything. You know, it was just like people that's on like powder cocaine versus crack cocaine. The powder cocaine is probably a little bit more intensive than the crack cocaine. And I think he was speaking from the point to whereas I guess the casual use of it and everything, so it's more like accepted and everything, so it makes it more integrated into society to a degree.
From what I understand, because like I said, my husband struggled with it. Drug addiction was a huge part of my family. Crack, of course, is more cost effective.
Right.
And from what I understand, the high is quicker and faster, and boom, you know. But the chase.
The chase, that's the
chase
thing.
Is what kills you. Trying to get back to that. The chase is what takes people under.
So you integrate it into your routine sometimes?
I do. It's healing for me.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's healing. Yeah. And people can relate to it. I don't care who you are, what walk of life. Everybody, if you everybody can relate to drug
Right.
addiction or addiction period.
Addiction period. Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
I do, and I let him know. I don't want it to be a surprise or him.
Right.
Somebody said your wife was. So yeah. So he's aware that I talk about that. And he's okay with it.
Yeah.
So what was that conversation like? Hey, I'm doing comedy, and you're a part of it. I just want you to know you.
Hey, don't you remember that time you pawned off?
Yeah. Right.
But no, I just let him know, because we are in the same circle. We were married for 7 years, and we do still have a lot of the same friends. And then when people wanted to start posting my videos online and things like that, I'm like, oh, even though, I put myself in his position. If there were things in the marriage that rubbed him the wrong way or that he wanted to talk about, how would I feel?
True.
Getting it secondhand, or I'm seeing it on social media. So I just, let him know that I do talk about. There's certain things that we went through that I told him are off limits. I won't talk about, but I let him know that I do talk about the addiction piece of it, because he and I laugh about a lot of stuff that we went through.
That's good. That's a good healing for you guys to get to that point where you do have something you can laugh about and still have some. I'm sure you have still some type of love for one another.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
to have that ability to be able to laugh at some things that at that time probably weren't funny at all.
Woo, boy, who you telling?
Are you single at this point?
I am. I'm single.
Okay.
heard that.
How's the dating game?
You heard that?
Single. It's going pretty jacked up. Yeah, pretty jacked up. I don't know. Like,
I thought, look, she called me because it's going pretty good. Yeah, she put me on. You called me with that.
So what's jacked up about? Is there give me an interesting situation that may have happened in your dating process? What I mean,
I don't know. These fellas, I don't know. Things have changed. Like, everybody is like ready to get in the intimacy so quick.
Right.
Like,
you didn't want to say what.
what I want to say. I don't know if I can say the real words.
say whatever you want to say.
Not with an F.
We're gonna get to that on the real women preferred set. So stay tuned for that. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's like they want to just get to the intimacy so quick, and it's like I just want to meet somebody for once that just is interested in Janeen. And I know, when you first meet somebody, it's all physical and, ooh, she got a nice ass and all that. I get all of that piece, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for once, seriously, I just want to meet somebody who's just interested in me. The physical gonna come, because if you get me up here, the rest gonna follow.
Right.
And I just want to meet somebody who can grasp that concept. You ain't got to rush that, and it's like men don't get that.
Well, let's switch it for real quick and everything. Okay, let's talk about the business.
Business of comedy?
Of the business of comedy. I mean, you're a business in yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because of what you do and how you move it and everything, you're your own entity.
Yes, definitely.
Okay? So looking at it from that aspect of it, I mean, what have you experienced in handling your business, trying to move in that realm? Because when we were talking, just a moment ago and everything, you're booking shows, you're doing anything. You might bring other comedians in if someone needs anything. How does that work? How are you handling those things behind the scenes?
You know what? I'm a networker.
Okay.
If I do a lot of my networking through social media, Facebook, Instagram, following other people, seeing who's doing what, who's promoting shows. I'll go in somebody's DM in a minute. Hey, how you doing? My name is Janeen. I'm a local comedian here in Raleigh. Are you looking for comedians? Can I send you a video? Just always try to keep it professional as well. If they say yes, that's great. If they say no, okay, well, keep me in mind for future, and I keep it moving. I have people reach out to me. I got your information from such and such. I think that it's all about how people will take you how you present yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if you present yourself as professional and about your business, then that's normally the response you get back. If you present yourself as consistent, determined, because it's a growth process. And we're new.
Right.
So we do make some mistakes, but I think it's all in how you handle things. That's what I'm learning.
How do you deal with your face-to-face interactions from a business perspective?
'Cause
You're dealing with that virtually.
Yeah.
But from a face-to-face perspective, how does that work?
Well, face-to-face, I know my first thing, especially when I'm dealing with men, I'm always make eye contact. You know what I'm saying? Listen, straight, keep it here, eyes up here. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
4 eyes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You can use that if you want. That's why I do like this.
4 eyes, keep them up here. But basically, just the same way I would interact with anyone else. You know, you want to speak professionally. You know, try to stay away from all the slang and the ebonics and all of that.
Right.
Like when I'm talking with my.
So you don't go up in there like Big Red,
like,
you know, from
yeah,
5 Hearts.
Guess what?
You don't be hanging nobody over the balcony.
No, my office hours. Yeah, you know. No,
You know what I'm saying?
no, none of
What are my
that.
office hours?
9 to 5.
My check. I'll make sure you on.
Well, and even in talking about that, have you seen the difference between the male comedians and the female comedians when you're in the realm? Like, is the treatment a little bit different?
I personally haven't seen it.
Okay.
I've heard other comedians say it. I've heard people say things like, you know what I'm saying, I've heard promoters say to me, you know, they'll try to help women because they think that sometimes women are not treated fairly in the comedy game. But me personally, I mean, if it's taking place, I haven't seen it. Now, probably, if anything, in terms of pay, I'm sure they pay men more than they pay us. I've heard women say things like they've been approached for sexual favors and things like that, and I'm like, well, damn, should I be insulted or should I be thankful? Because nobody's ever came at me like that. So I'm like, damn, should I be insulted or should
That's
I
one
be
of what's
thankful?
Steph Curry's wife's name?
Aisha, yeah.
One of those type of situations.
Yeah, like I don't know how to, you know, how to gauge
I need
that.
somebody
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? Somebody
attention too.
ask me, you know. Meet me in the back, you know what I'm saying?
I don't really want to do it, but I like to be asked.
I need
Like,
to know.
yeah, I want to be able to say me too, you know. But yeah,
The whole Me
but-
Too movement.
I've never. I've been blessed thus far. I can honestly say the doors that have opened for me have been bananas,
Okay.
and the progress that I have made in this short window has been nothing but the favor of God.
Right. I mean, but that's cool though, because you know, I just from looking at, you know, what's out there right now and everything, there's gaps. There's gaps, and there's space. There's space. I mean, you got your highline, you know, superstar. You got your Tiffany Haddishes and everything. Monique's still in there to a certain
Right.
degree. Who else is out there? There's some people that's kind of faded to the background.
Some
but-
more's out
some more-
there.
but
Some
you
more's
know,
out
but it ain't like
Lunel.
mainstream. you know.
Nell is out
Yeah, yeah.
there. They're working.
Yeah, so
But it's not a lot. I mean, I think the industry is like wide open. You know.
Yeah, there's not a lot in terms of. I definitely think in terms of urban.
Right.
Urban
right.
female comedians. There is no like how there's a Kevin Hart or you know what I'm saying.
Right.
We don't have that
Yeah,
for
who's hitting it hard from that degree?
For
from,
when?
from that gender, you know.
Yeah, even Tiffany Haddish, as much as I love her from a comedic perspective, I don't know what she's done. Like I know she's done some movies,
Right.
but like you, you know, but
We're talking. We're talking.
after the camera.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, but we don't have that. I mean, we have Lonnie Love. We had Whoopi for a minute, and then she kind of, and she didn't even really
Yeah, she
kind of
getting
go
that money now.
to where
she don't care.
Yeah.
She got a house in England.
Yeah.
She's straight.
So, but like, and then you got your Wanda Sykes. To me, she's not really.
Yeah, she's not even like pushing it out there.
No,
You
and
don't
she's not
see her like
really
that.
urban. She's kind of,
Mainstream.
yeah. We don't have that. We don't,
Right.
and I don't know. I don't know because there are a lot of hilarious women out here, and
Right,
I've been wondering
right.
what is the disconnect?
Well,
Why? Why
That's,
is that not happening?
that's why I
not
asked
they got
about the
together and did, like, a
difference.
tour? I mean, dang.
They have. I mean, they've done tours. And that's why I was asking about the whole dynamic of the men versus the women because, I mean, you kind of hit it on the head. I mean, time after time you have rock star male comedians that hit it and they'll come out right now with, Kevin Hart, and then, you had it where it was Kings of Comedy, and then Martin Lawrence was killing. All these different guys were killing it. But I just don't remember in theory that one woman that was, killing it on that level that you like.
I think Issa Rae is like doing it, producing and doing the whole thing behind the scenes and everything.
Yeah.
I think she's actually a powerhouse. I think we haven't seen, the totality of what she's
Of
actually
what she's
gonna
capable
bring.
of.
Yeah,
Does she do stand-up?
because I'm just saying, her, what she's doing intellectually behind the scenes as far as producing, writing, and the humor that goes into those the shows that she's doing and everything. I think right now, and I'm not even aware of the full scope, because you know how some people behind the scenes, they're working on things that we don't even know about, or they're a part of it and everything. I think she's a powerhouse, and I mean, I don't know if there's something out there for us, more information on that, what she's doing, but that woman is clever. She's like a what's your boy that did Atlanta? What's his name?
Glover.
Glover.
Okay.
You know, he's like a witty type of recluse almost and everything. I wouldn't say she's more recluse, but she's like, it's like a calm, interactive into our society like that. She's doing things that are penetrating, but they're real. There's real things that happen. Like when you watch her show Insecure, you seen that? That's like real stuff. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
real.
I think that she gets the acknowledgement from black women. Black women see her and they say, "That sister
Thank you,
is."
yeah.
But black men, I'm watching it as a black man. I'm like, that's
You needed to watch.
You're one of few, probably.
Really? You
Maybe
think so?
get something, probably. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, he needed to watch.
I figured.
He got some problems.
It's okay.
Well, I'm just saying, it's okay. Let's look at let's look at it as a window into another part of life and everything like that you can relate to from a point of view. That's what I'm speaking. I'm speaking from that perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're probably one of few, but it's okay.
You say so. I mean, you say so. You say so.
Yeah.
You know.
It's all good. But getting back to just the thought process of where do you see where's your, maybe your 5-year plan? Where do you want to see yourself in the comedy game?
I don't really have. I mean, ultimately, my vision is women's empowerment. Ministry used to be a huge part of my life,
Really?
and I've gotten kind of away from that.
You're a heathen now.
Yeah,
Don't
pretty
even
much.
go
I'm a
church
sinner. God still loves a sinner's prayer.
Hey, what did it say? Color purple.
That's right.
What you tell her, Daddy?
That's right.
Sinners need love
That's
too.
right. You know what I'm saying?
Let's sing the
Sinners got
song.
souls too.
Let's sing the
That's
song.
right. Sinners got souls.
I'm not a singer.
Now sing the
you know what
song.
I'm saying?
If you go quote Sugar Gave, you got to sing the
You know,
song.
but I do know that God still hears, in the words of the great Dietrich Haddon from
Oh, yeah.
Detroit,
Amen.
God still hears a sinner's prayer. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All
I
righty.
sure hope we do. Lord knows I hope we do.
But ultimately though, I want to do something that will empower women and just bring and promote sisterhood. That's a big thing for me. There's so many broken women. Oh my God, I see so many broken women, and that's heartbreaking for me. And that's a passion that I have, because I once was a very broken woman and nobody was there for me. So I'm like, Lord, if you can open the door and give me a platform, if it's comedy, that's great. If comedy is the vessel that I can use to do some other things with, that's great as well. But ultimately, my passion is women's empowerment and just seeing healing for broken women.
Let's talk about that for 2 seconds. I'm not going to dwell on it, but and I've had conversations with women about broken women and everything. And one of the things about those conversations that I've had is, it's like, say a young woman, they don't understand where they're going.
Right.
As far as different situations they can get into and how those situations are going to ultimately affect their lives and everything. So would you agree that these conversations need to be had and it needs to start at an early age?
Definitely. I have a daughter. I have 3 sons and a daughter. My daughter is 10. I always say God knew 20-something-year-old Janeen was not ready
For a girl.
for a girl.
Right.
I didn't have my daughter till I was 36. So now I'm 47, my daughter's 10. The things that I can instill and show my daughter, I couldn't have done that in my 20s. I would have just shown her a life of foolishness,
Right.
Yeah, so I think those conversations do need to be had. No one had those conversations with me. Life taught me. Life had those conversations with me. So I definitely think those conversations need to be had. Anytime you go on social media,
Oh yeah.
those conversations need to be had very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful.
Can be very distracting.
Yeah, and it's disturbing.
Disturbing.
It's heartbreaking.
Put you in the wrong path, going the wrong way. So many things. I was listening to a wise man, and he was like, you can't pay attention to everything.
Right.
You need to focus on the one thing that really makes sense, and that's where you need to be, right there. Not all over the place. It's too many. It's too much of all this chat. It's like a lot of white noise.
Right,
that goes
exactly.
on out there.
That's
So,
true.
Yeah.
So what do your kids think about the comedy?
My kids love the comedy. My little ones, my grown kids, because my comedy is an adult comedy. It's adult. It can get a little raunchy sometimes. So my adult children, they laugh, but that's how they grew up. I've always been me. I grew up with a mom and dad who talked very raunchy and explicit all my life. So my adult children, they're kind of used to it and they'll laugh. My little ones, sometimes they'll say, well, let us see your stuff. And I'm like, well, I got to find something that you can actually watch. Yeah. So sometimes when we're at home, if we don't have anything to do, we'll get in the living room, we'll have a comedy show, and I'll do a little something for them. Or they always want to know, well, are you talking about me? Or what are you saying about, what are you saying about me, on stage? But they think it's great. My daughter loves it. She always gives me a pep talk before I go. If my son, they say, have a good show, kill it. And then when I come home, they want to know, how'd you do? They'll ask me, how'd your friends do? How did Iris do it? Did the people laugh? And, so they love it. They're very supportive.
Yeah, we were talking to a comedian, you mentioned Iris earlier and everything. She mentioned in her younger years how they used to get together and have comedy shows and everything. So I'm wondering now, statistically, is that like a trend that happens that later on that puts you on the path to go into this,
I don't know. I think so. Just from hearing her stories, I think it was something they did as children, kind of like just that was their bond.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody had their own little different things they were dealing with in their families. So that was them as kids coming together, and that was the bond that they shared to get away from whatever they might have been dealing with at home. With us, it's a little bit different. It's just something I do with my kids because I can't really let them hear the stuff that Mama really talks about.
Right.
Okay, gotta ask this question. So, there are different types of comedy. We obviously already know that you don't do gospel comedy. We know this part.
No, I can. I've done it before.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
I don't. That's not
the
my
ministry
preference.
because the ministry part. So now we're not doing the gospel comedy anymore. What led you to this, new adult, Janeen comedy?
That's untapped,
Because
by the way.
it's life. It's real. I don't care, saved or unsaved. Everybody have sex. I don't care. Animals do
It's
it.
universal.
It's universal language. Everybody knows
You
sex.
say animals do it.
Everybody knows.
Plants do
Yeah,
it.
if you're not doing it, you want to do it. You're thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? It's universal.
If you're not doing it, you want to do it.
It's a part of life, and it's
Pastor?
something that So I say the things that people are afraid to say.
Right.
I like that. I like that kind of comedy. I ain't gonna lie.
And I've had, I have a joke that I crack now about being saved and single, and loving dick and Jesus. And I had a guy come up to me afterwards.
She just said that so casual.
Because it's real. It's real.
said
It's
that very
hard,
casual.
when you saved and single, and it's
That is real though.
I love them both.
People don't talk about that's honest though. So people don't talk about the hoarseness that goes on in church and everything. They don't talk about that and everything. That's like an untapped,
certain churches are a dating site, right? Like literally.
Yeah,
They go to church.
definitely.
It's a dating site. You go to church. It's a dating site.
Yeah,
Basically.
black people meet at the temple.
What's the other? ChristianMingle.com.
Crystal Mingle, yes.
Yeah. Real talk.
It is, but I think people want to try to present that aura that they're so holier than thou, and so heavily bound, you ain't no earthly good.
Right.
And
How'd you get here?
yeah,
Right. And how them kids get there?
Yeah.
You got 4 of them, 6 of them, 7 of them. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I just, I'm like, I'm me, I'm real, because God knows it all anyway. He know everything that's going up in this mind. I can't fool nobody. You don't have a heaven or a hell to put me in.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I got a front?
Yeah, but I think it's cool though, cause like specifically in like the Catholic Church and everything like that, it's like, you need to make like 15 kids. Each family need to have as many as you can, and stuff like that.
They need to do something. They need to start having to have a wife or something. That they need to rewrite the bylaws on
something
that.
up in there.
Something need to go down.
You think so?
Yes.
The way they look, they do some horrible things in their church. Just be honest.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah,
We're not
it
gonna talk
is.
we're not gonna get too deep into that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but the procreation part.
You talking
it's
about
all
just
about-
the
just
regular?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
have
okay,
a lot of kids.
You
and stuff
talking about
like
that
that.
other side of that spectrum.
Lord.
But anyway, yeah, you're right. But yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right. Look, we've enjoyed having this conversation with you, having this great sit down. You brought a little bit of comedy here, gave us some real things to think about.
Exactly. We appreciate you. We hope by having this conversation that you feel the same. About
Oh,
us.
definitely. I am thankful for the opportunity. It's always a blessing to be able to get out and talk and get some exposure and let people know who you are and what you do.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So when you hit that pinnacle, and you sit on the stages with the Kevin Harts and the Tiffany Haddishes and Moniques and all the greats and whatnot.
And whatever Netflix gives you on that piece of paper when they slide it across the table, I'm good. Go ahead. Take that.
You ain't kidding. I'm
You know what I'm
saying.
saying?
Listen, you
Call
got
your
to
boys
crawl
when
for
you
your
do that.
wallet.
No, I need y'all to come and do this.
Call
in
your
my
boys.
event,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Holler at your boys now. Let them know, like, they're my peoples right there. Like, well, look, I'm standing at the door, like, trying to get in, like, hey, I know them. Like,
Be down at the studio.
yeah.
Yeah, got
Go
you.
and do whatever.
I'm gonna be like, these two guys, did they have on some suits?
Damn right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Let's do this. Let's do this and everything.
All right, take us
So
out.
once again, it's Baldwin and Creech. You know what it is and everything. We got over here the most. Hey, I'm just in it like this.
Do it.
There ain't no excuse for good taste. We'll be back at you next week.
Gentleman Style Show.
Different style show. Good job.
Good job. Thanks, man. That was beautiful.
Janine, that was perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.